Hey, what's up, guys? So today we're going to be talking about WandaVision episode 6. The episode took place in the 90s, and which is kind of I guess you can say my era, because that was, I grew up watching some of those shows, like got to watch, I think, Friends and Freaks and Geeks and all that stuff. And I got all those vibes from this episode, especially with the intro. I love the intro; it's pretty good. So yeah, let's get right into the stuff that I found was very interesting. Let me fix the light right now. Like I said, '90s is my thing, and the episode did a really good job of kind of um, you know, taking all of those things into consideration from, the narration by like the little kid, which in this episode was Tommy. He was more of like the central character in this, like, yes, think like, I guess, Malcolm in the Middle, where he would, narrate certain events in his life. That was what Tommy did in this episode. Yeah, I really, the thing about this was, it really opened up memories that I didn't even know were there. I was like, oh yeah, I remember watching that from like the shows that I used to watch. So yeah, that was those, they got the beats and also the edginess of the characters, especially now that we have Pietro in the mix, played by Evan Peters. Um, you know, yeah, like everything was incorporated very nicely. Sorry about that. I think that was a truck. Yeah. So it was actually the first episode where I liked the sitcom reality better than the sword, like where they showed scenes from the sword base. In the prior episodes, I was kind of bored with the sitcom reality. Started to pick up with the previous episode, but this episode was where I was like, man, get me back to the sitcom reality. Like I don't want to see any sword stuff. I'm sick of that. Like this was the episode where I really liked that. So you know, next episode, I think they're gonna be doing 2000s shows. So I don't know if they're gonna be going straight into The Office, which I think The Office did come out like in 2005 or 2003 or four or something like that. So they're probably gonna be doing that. Yeah, back to the 90s sitcom aspect. The Yo Magic commercial. Um, to me, I think it was the creepiest commercial because essentially, if you guys haven't seen the episode, well, you guys probably shouldn't be watching this. I should put a spoiler thing in the beginning. Sorry, that was a motorcycle. So in the commercial, essentially, it was a Yo Magic, which is, I guess, a play on yogurt and Trix cereal. I guess it's like a combination of the two. And essentially, in the commercial, there was a kid who was stranded on the island, and a shark comes out of nowhere. Like it was 3D claymation, like very 90s, very 90s. Like think, I guess I don't know what an example would be at this moment, but that was very 90s of them to put that in there. And essentially, the shark offered the kid like, oh, are you straight, are you hungry right now? I'm not very good at explaining it, but essentially the kid, it was lighthearted at first, and then the kid ended up, dying. Like he couldn't open the yogurt pack, so he ended up, there was a time lapse of his body like slowly fading until he was just a skeleton. That was very dark. I think it's the darkest commercial because the previous commercials didn't really, like didn't really death in them. It was kind of dark, like if you think about it. But this one, like straight up, just like throw it at you, like that kid just died, like straight up. He can open the yogurt pack. So yeah. Um, Another thing was the kick-ass reference, which they're really upping the multiverse. I guess you can't really call it like a multiverse reference, but the references, the fan service in the show is, I think, one of the best aspects of it, because there was a scene where I think it was Tommy. He said, sorry, that's another car. I think Tommy was like, man, that is so kick ass. And then Wanda was like, hmm, kick ass. And I was like, oh yeah, Evan Peters, both Quicksilvers got to play roles in Kick Ass. Um, Aaron Taylor Johnson was the one who actually played Kick Ass, but Evan Peters was also a character in that. I never got to see Kick Ass, but I understood the reference, and I've seen clips of it, so I guess that counts, right? Photon is teased in this episode, which was a form of lab scans, lab tests on Monica. So Darcy warns Monica not to go back because Monica's kind of planning to go back to help Wanda, and Monica's like, "No, you can't go because genetic makeup is being altered, and you've already went through the barrier twice." And so yeah, I think that may be a good indication that we will probably be seeing her with powers sometime soon, or maybe this might be the MCU's way of incorporating mutants into the mix. However they go about that, I think they're doing a good job of teasing it. So yeah. Another thing that I want to talk about, there's a lot. I have a lot of notes. Billy can sense things. So in this episode, Vision is essentially exploring where the town ends. Like he goes past the street. I forgot what the street was called, but Wanda always warns his kids not to go back past a certain street. I think it's like, sorry, it's another noisy car. Yeah, like not to go past a certain street, and Vision goes beyond that barrier, and he goes out, and essentially, you know, he makes it out of the barrier, but in the process, his body is being sucked back, and it was really gruesome because like his body, it was like, think Infinity War where like they were getting dusted, but it was like more bigger bits. So essentially, Billy was able to sense that his father was in danger, and we'll get to that later. Because that, hopefully, I remember that was the ending. That was like the climax that caused the big WTF ending. That yeah, we're just gonna talk about that later. So yeah, and we're also gonna talk about how director Hayward is a douche. Yeah, he's a douche. Okay, so Dead Pietro was also in the episode, and by that I mean, if you guys remember the scene in, I think, episode 3, or no, I think it was episode 4, where Wanda looks at Vision, and Vision isn't exact. He's a corpse, like the he's actually a corpse and not what we see him as. And the same thing happened to Pietro with the bullet wounds in his chest. And yeah, there's still a lot of questions that are unanswered with that. Um, it was literally explained. I mean, stated by Wanda, as like, "Why do you look different?" And essentially, Pietro, didn't answer. He just said that, "Oh, if you make it past Shangri-La, you wouldn't want to go back," or something like that. He said something weird. So he never really answered that question. So I don't know what Marvel is planning. I don't know if this is a multiverse thing, or if he's just playing another character that is, pretending to be another character. I don't know. So yeah. Okay, I already said Vision nearly dies. Okay, Vision nearly dies at the climax of the episode, and Hayward just watches him, which really pissed me off. I was like, Hayward, you are a douche, but I didn't know you were this bad of a freaking guy, man. He was like, he's nothing like Nick Fury. Nick Fury, he does bad stuff, but his moral compass is really what drives his character. Hayward is the exact opposite. He's just a straight up asshole and murderer. Um, so um, yeah, there's shoot. Darcy is in that encounter where he gets to see Vision almost die, and at the same time she's handcuffed to a car, because of because Hayward catches her. Monica and Jimmy Woo end up escaping so that she can meet up with the guy, which hasn't even been disclosed yet. That's gonna provide her with the car that we see enter the gate, the barrier. And Darcy gets okay. So let's talk about that ending. Let's just talk about that ending. Okay. So after Vision nearly dies and Billy sees that like through his I guess his magical powers, because he has powers in the comics. He sees that Vision is in danger, and Wanda enlarges the barrier. So everyone who was in that site and didn't get to escape was consumed by that barrier. And we got to see some military guys. They changed into clowns, and the cars also changed, and everything changed. The buildings changed. But Darcy, when she got consumed by the barrier, she just disintegrated. So I was like, is she dead, or did I just not see something that you know? So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if Darcy's dead, if she's alive. I hope not. She's apparently appearing in some other Marvel projects, so I don't know. I really don't know. So we'll find out more about that. Um, so yeah, that was pretty much my main things about this episode. There are a lot of questions that I have, and I think I wrote it down. Yeah, there are some other noteworthy stuff about the WandaVision episode 6. The commercial where the kid dies because of starvation. Yeah, that was really dark. Could be alluding to the fact that some people might be dying because of Wanda's actions. And if you guys remember in the episode, you saw that near the edge of the barrier, people were frozen, and they couldn't move. And one of them was even tearing, like shed a tear. Like you can see that they were struggling, and it could be alluding to the fact that because of Wanda's actions, because of magic, magic, people are literally starving to death because of the inaction. Granted, it may not be Wanda's fault, but we don't know that exactly. We don't know exactly. She doesn't know exactly what's going on, but she doesn't seem to have a solution to this problem. I wouldn't say that she's doing this on purpose, but the fact that she's keeping everybody in the dark is really getting me to wonder what her true intentions are. Um, and another thing was in that ending, we got to see that Agatha doesn't seem to be the person we think she was, which is Agatha Harkness, which was a witch in the comics who everyone's been hypothesizing is actually helping Wanda, or causing Wanda to do certain things. But in this case, we saw that she's just as scared as everybody else. She doesn't know how to get out. She's trying to leave, but she doesn't seem to be controlling anything. So we don't know what her true intentions are at the moment. It could just be she could just be messing with Vision. I don't know. So yeah, another thing, the last thing that I want to talk about here was Pietro. I really like his character. By the way, he's a douchebag, by the way, but his addition, especially in the intro with his super speed. I don't know, like his presence in the show really really elevates it. But in the end of the episode, out of annoyance, I guess Wanda shoots him with one of her beams, just because he was being annoying, I guess. Um, and it gets me to wonder: is he dead now? Like, did she shot him dead? Did she shoot him dead? What exactly is their relationship? Is he really Quicksilver? There's so many things. Like, I don't know. We don't know, and I'm curious to see if he's actually in the next episode. That's one of my biggest questions. But you know, I trust in Marvel. Whatever you guys want to do, I trust you. You made it this far. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please leave a comment down below. Like, do you think uh, Quicksilver is gonna be back in the next episode? Do you think, what do you think about this episode? Or what do you think of this video? So yeah, thank you guys, and stay safe.